Hi there humans and fur babies, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be combining a few projects I've been wanting to do for a little while now. As you can see, I'm filming in a new environment. I had a spare room upstairs that I've turned into my crafting slash filming room. It's not real pretty at the moment, but there'll be videos about me updating it and fixing it and stuff, but right now we're going to start filming in here. So I was donated a computer hard drive that I pulled apart and found these two crazy things. So what I'm going to do is turn them into bookends so I can fix up all this area here. Now I watch a lot of different things on YouTube. I watch doll transformations, I watch gardening shows, I watch DIY stuff. I also watch this guy called Towan from Boulder Creek Railway, and he does dioramas, and I love dioramas and I've always wanted to do dioramas. I tried to do one of a car going off a pier in a tin can, but yeah, that didn't work out very well. But I've got all the bits and pieces that I bought to start a diorama series that I'm going to use in this project. So I'm going to use this old Vegemite can as my diorama. I'm going to build it up in here and put this on top, and this will be at the end of the bookend. So this bit will go under the books and this will be on the side. Now I also am really into true crime, and I often listen to true crime podcasts while I'm filming, so that's why a lot of the time you don't hear my actual audio, because I'm listening to podcasts. It's kind of frightening. Anyway, I was listening to They Walk Among Us last week, and there was this one particular episode which, out of respect for the victims and their families, I'm not going to tell you which particular episode it was. But I thought that that is the crime that I would recreate in this, which is very morose, but you know, that's what we're going to do today. So stick around! So this is the basic structure. I'm going to make a little wood platform, and then the jar's going to go in it and the metal's going to attach to the side. So I'm going to cut out the hole. I'm going to keep that little hole as the plug. It's going to go in the middle of the jar. So then I've got like a base like this. So I've glued all that in place. Now I want to build up the terrain a little bit, so when I cover it with plaster or whatever, it's not such a thick layer. So I'm just building up a little embankment with some corrugated cardboard scraps with hot glue to start making it a little bit more dimensional. Once that was done, I realised it was a bit too bulky, so I cut down the shape a little bit more, and I also cut down the metal bit so it was a little bit more streamlined. Basically the layout is this. This guy parked his car here and he went up to take a wee, and then while he was taking a wee he found a dead body, which is pretty bad luck, pretty bad timing. Like anywhere you could be pulled over to relieve yourself and you happened upon this spot, but it was amazing for the victim because she got found and then the killer got arrested and went to jail. Actually, I have a funny story about something like that. Hang on. Wait. Oh shit. My friend Lauren and I were going away for the weekend. There was a group of us. One of the girls that was going away came to pick us up from work. I can't remember what her name was. She's now into like vitamins. Instead of eating food, she just eats vitamins, so I don't know, I'll just call her Vitamin Girl. So Vitamin Girl picks us up from work, and we had just come off a 12-hour shift, and we were like, you know what, we're going to drink in the car. Well, Vitamin Girl's driving, we don't have to do anything. Wait, is that illegal? Oh, it was 15 years ago, who cares? So we're driving like 2 hours away down the coast, and about halfway, we're in the middle of nowhere, like it's just a 2-lane road. There's no like convenience stores or petrol stations. Like, there's paddocks on either side and trees down either side of the road. No traffic lights, like nothing. And Lauren and I were like, oh my god, we really need to go to the toilet. And so Vitamin Girl pulled over and we got out and, you know, we went to our little area to relieve ourselves. And I was doing my business and Lauren goes, Michael, there's a guy over there. And I was like, girl, you're drunk. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no one out here. And she's like, comes a bit close and she goes, Michael, there's a guy over there. And then all of a sudden I heard, excuse me. Well, I absolutely shut my pants. I screamed and I Lauren screams and she's pulling up her pants, he's still going everywhere, and we get into the car and we're going, drive, drive! And Vitamin Girl's like, what happened, what happened? And we're like, just go! Anyway, we totally just decided he was either an axe murderer or he'd come from outer space, because literally there was no reason for him to be out there. This random guy, there was no broken down cars, there was nothing close by, like he was just literally a random guy on the side of the road, just where we decided to pull over and take a pee. So I can't relate as much, but I'm just saying that things like that happen where you pull over and there's people. Back to the diorama now. So
Upside down.
Oh, Mr. Squiggle, it's upside down.
Upside down.
So to build up the shape of the diorama, you can buy this stuff called sculptor mold, but I obviously can't get it here, so I've got to make up my own version. So this is like pre-mixed plaster, and this is wood shavings, and this is some white glue, and I'm going to come up with some sort of combo and make some sort of paste so I can paint it on and build up the terrain. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I put some plaster in first, and then there's some wood shavings, and then there's some glue, and then I mix it all together. And then I decided it's too sticky, so I added some more wood shavings, and some more wood shavings, and more wood shavings. Then I started to put it on the diorama, building it up in thin layers, little bit by little bit, so it can dry, smoothing out the bit where the road's going to be, putting it over the cardboard, and so the cardboard's basically like a little ledge, and then underneath it is sort of a little cave thing, and then on one side I'm going to make a little rocky knoll, and then there's like a tree trunk, and then the poor victim's going to be sort of under there somewhere. So I'm just evening all this out and making sure that it looks good.
Oh, Mr. Squiggle, it's upside down.
Okay, so while the base is drying, I'm going to try and paint these little people. They're very tiny. They don't look tiny because they're big on the screen, but they were tiny. So I just had to sort of try and be delicate. The first thing I need to do though is move his arm, because he's supposed to be doing a pee, so I need him to touch his penis. So the way to do that is I'm going to try and heat up the plastic and move his arm towards his crotch. However, I heated it up a bit too much and I actually burned his hand off. But I don't think it's going to matter too much, because, as I said, in real life they're really little, and you probably won't tell that he doesn't have a hand.
Upside down.
So the next day after it had dried, there was cracking, which I didn't really mind because it's supposed to look like earth and terrain, but I did decide to smooth it out with some of that plaster, which I think made a big difference. In hindsight, I probably needed more plaster and less glue in my combo, but it's alright. It worked out in the end. Right, time to keep painting these little critters. Just to give you a bit of an idea about how little they are, there's a toothbrush. Tiny!
Upside down.
Hi, welcome back. I'm certainly glad you could join me today. You know, we get hundreds of letters here at The Joy of Painting, and one of the things that I read over and over again is people want to learn how to do a basic face, just how to paint the human face. Well, I think I told you the story years and years ago when I was going to school, that my instructor became a very good friend, and after a long period of time, he took me aside one evening. He says, "Bob,
it's cold outside."
Yeah, it's cold?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, what's this right here?
That's my penis.
That's your penis, alright.
So I painted the inside black as well as the metal bit that's going to go under the books. And now I'm just working out the painting for the landscape, giving it some dirt and making it look earthy, some grassy knolls, some rocky bits, working out the right colour for the road. Also got to work out the placement of trees and rocks and everything like that, but I'm just doing like the base kind of wash first, and then I'm going to start adding some more details. So once all the paint job's done, I go in with some chalk pastels and give it a little bit more dimension, like where the tyre tracks are on the road, and where the sun's going to be hitting certain parts of the scene. I drill some small holes to put the trees in, and then once I start placing the bits and pieces, I've got this extension bit on my super glue, so I can just dot it in and glue it all together. Adding more trees and rocks and tree roots and Pissing Man and the car and more rocks and trees and blah blah blah. So the last thing we're going to do is add some grass to the scene. So I'm just using some white glue, and then I'm going to sprinkle the grass all over, then dust off the excess and give it a bit more shading with the chalk pastel so it doesn't look so green. And then we're pretty much ready to put it all together.